Hello everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you for joining me here today again. This is your one-stop shop for cryptocurrency analysis, among other things. Alright, so we're going to take a look at MFT, and I'll tell you what, this has been requested multiple times by one person. Okay, not to say there's other people that don't want it reviewed, right? But I have one person in Australia that really appreciates my channel, and I appreciate you too, so I hope you find this to be beneficial. This is strictly a technical analysis. There's no fundamentals here. This is also for educational purposes only. Do your own research. I'm not a financial advisor, but I can tell you I've got a lot of experience in trading over the years. All right. Before we get started, there's a link to our Telegram community down below. If you could just go ahead and join up in there and go ahead and get to know everyone else. Really awesome community. There's also a Patreon account that I recently created and $25 in Bitcoin from Voyager. That's all in the description below. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get right to the video. Alright folks, let's go ahead and check out MFT. And before we get started, as per usual, I always like to reference Bitcoin and Ethereum. So if you're new to the channel, I like to look at that to get a baseline on what's going on in the market so we know what's affecting the currency we're planning to invest in or are already likely invested in. That's probably why you're watching this, right? Either way, let's go ahead and take a look at those two and we'll dive deeper into MFT. So, Bitcoin. My friend Bitcoin. What a pain in the butt you have been lately, right? Look at this. 57,000 was a support and resistance level. Above, below, above, below, above, below. Now we're above. So hopefully we can see this continue. We have two major support levels, which is nice. We've got the 200-day moving average and the 50-day entering the party. So when two moving averages join together, their powers combined become a much stronger support or resistance level. So just keep that in mind. So this is good news. Hopefully the moving average, the 50, keeps trending upwards with the price, and we see this bad boy hit 70 and beyond. Well, 60 first, of course, but 70 would be nice, right? So that's the goal, is to get the price back up over 70. That's kind of what we want, so we can start growing our wallets again instead of this complacency. But this is a 4-hour chart, in case I didn't indicate that, and it's usually the best indicator of the moving averages because, as you can see here, let's see, look at that purple bar, the 200-day moving average. That is essentially what's going on with Bitcoin. So that the 200-day moving average is working at a super strong support level for a long time. It was a resistance for a while recently too with the sell-off, but now it's back on track. So all good things there for Bitcoin. Ethereum, same scenario too. And I always like to point this out if you're new to the channel. I just want to show you how Bitcoin affected Ethereum and what the connection is. Because it's very similar with a lot of altcoins. So we look at this here, this is the 17th, this is Judgment Day, I like to call it. Back when we had that massive sell-off from Bitcoin, we lost 15%, maybe even 20 depending on our wallets in one day. So it went way down, way fast. But Ethereum's nice because when people sell out on Bitcoin, right, when they exit their position in Bitcoin, they have a tendency of going right over to Ethereum. That's why we see Ethereum recover quickly when Bitcoin's doing poorly. So here, if we see that, we see the price consolidate, and then of course increase. Second major sell-off from Bitcoin, more consolidation, and then third sell-off from Bitcoin, GTFO, just took right off, right? So nothing to worry about there. Ethereum's doing fantastic, as we can see, with Bitcoin being a little bit more stable here for over 24 hours above the moving average of the 200-day moving average and the 57,000 support level. We can see Ethereum is just taking off again. So there's comfort in that. So if you ever see Bitcoin doing well and continuing upwards, you can expect Ethereum to be doing a little bit better, which is nice. Now moving on, let's go ahead and take a look at MFT, right? So MFT is interesting, as you can see here. I haven't looked at it yet, but I can see there's a lot of price action. It's actually kind of cool. So we'll take a closer look, and this is a one-day chart. We look at that first, and then we work our way down to the 4-hour, 15-minute, and possibly 1 minute, depending on the price action. So this is kind of what we're looking at here. So MFT, looks like a little bit of consolidation recently. Obviously, it's been impacted by Bitcoin. So let's take a look here. First of all, willing to guess, yep, right around here, 17th. This is the first sell-off from Bitcoin right there, right? Big sell-off. Price goes down even further, second major sell-off from Bitcoin. Came down to test the 200-day moving average at 0.0095. Okay, so we could pretty much just say that's 1 cent as a really rough estimate. And then the price comes back up, and we can see on, what is it, the Yeah, 25th was the third and final sell-off from Bitcoin, so the price was low enough for too long, considered oversold. MFT decided to ramp back up, and it's been doing pretty well. It did a really massive run recently to 0.025. Okay, and of course it sold off in one day, so I was just kind of trying to come up there. It's hard to say what happened there specifically. I mean, obviously on the 25th, correction, the 1st. Let's take a look at Bitcoin really quick. So what happened on the 1st? So the 1st, really nothing major to note. It was just hovering above, and it had been above the moving average at that time. So that could be part of it. Either way, had that major increase and sell-off, retraced back down because the price obviously got way too high, and it came back down. Now we can't see that on the RSI here. We'll look at the 4-hour chart to kind of identify. I'm willing to guess that there was the price moved up too quickly. But simply put, RSI is in good shape right now at 45, fair to Midland. So we've got some consolidation going on, and the MACD is leveling out too. So really not much going on here on the one-day chart. It just kind of tells us that the price has increased, sold off, normal retracement, and the price is trying to find its average true range right now because of the fact that Bitcoin had its sell-off. So I'd venture to guess the price should be much higher, should be above the 50-day moving average because of the fact that the price action was likely going to recover here, but it never got a chance to because it got hammered with Bitcoin. People got scared, they pulled out, and this is what happens. So that's kind of the one-day chart. Let's look at the 4-hour chart next. See what's going on here. Yeah, wow, look at that. Big volume day. So let's just out of curiosity. Jeez, okay, yeah, 42% in one day. Correction, 4 hours. So 42% in 4 hours, that's a lot. That's massive gains. So as we can see, extremely high volume, extremely high RSI. Big surprise, the RSI came up over 70 and sold off and retraced afterwards. It didn't even do a slow progressive sell-off, it did a really fast, hard sell-off, which is normal when the price has been hammered down this long. And when with the RSI being over 70, that makes sense too. So all in all, I could see why that happened. Look at the RSI right now, same as the one-day chart. Right in the middle, MACD, same thing as well. So nothing much to extract here minus the moving averages. So let's take a look at that. Now these moving averages are interesting because of the fact that the 200 days coming down. And again, the 4-hour chart has the most validity for the moving averages. So if you're going to trust any moving average at all ever, it would be the 50-day moving average on the 15-minute chart or the 50, 100, and 200-day moving average on the 240-day, 240-hour chart. Minute? No, minute. 240 minutes. Sorry, long day. Yeah, so 4-hour charts, essentially, any moving average, specifically the 50, 100, and 200-day moving average is the best, in my opinion. That being said, the 200-day moving average is working as a resistance level. It's pretty obvious. So the price came up this high, right? It wasn't just the RSI. It was likely the 200-day moving average holding the price down because it's like, okay, the price shouldn't be in this range and it's too high in this range right now, so we're going to drive the price back down. That's why the moving averages kind of tell us a lot. They tell us what the price should be based on the previous 200 days in this case, right? That's the 200-day moving average. So the 100-day moving average is working as a support, which is nice, and the 50 just lost support. It's currently resistance. It was tested and rejected. But you see these interesting patterns. It comes up, sharp decrease, increase, decrease, increase, decrease. And the volume, it's a pretty decent amount of volume. It's not bad. I mean, all in all, minus this little spike right there, we've had pretty consistent volume. Obviously a lot more back here though. Okay, yeah, so anyways, that being said, if you have a milestone right now to worry about, it would be the 200-day moving average, because as you can see, tested once, rejected, twice rejected, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, almost 8 times. So here's the great thing about this, right? The more often a resistance line is tested, the more often, or more likely rather, it's going to be broken and stay above and hold stronger. So I'm venturing to guess in the near future, perhaps in the next 24 hours, we're going to see that line be tested. And if and when it's tested and breaks above and holds above, it will essentially stay above and continue to be a support level. That's the hope. The reason why I think that is just because it's been tested multiple times and continues to drive the price down. You think about this, how much longer can it continue to do this? It can't drive the price into the ground, right? It's going to drive the price down a little bit further, work itself into this channel, and it's going to break out and do some things. So just based on this alone, again, we haven't looked at the 15-minute chart yet. This tells me, this gets me kind of excited here. I might even consider investing in this because I like the price being where it's at right now, because it does feel like there's a breakout that's likely going to happen soon. Again, just strictly on the 4-hour chart. I never make a decision based on the 4-hour chart. It just helps me understand the overall sentiment. But if I were to consider doing a crazy, just straight up investment, I like the way it's channeling and I like what it's doing right now. 15-minute chart. Take a look at this here. So there's that pattern there. Wow, what happened? I gotta wonder what happened right here. I bet there was some type of catalyst. I'm willing to guess if we look up online at like Lunar Crush or something, we could see some kind of something that drove the price up that fast, that hard. But either way, nonetheless, the price went up the way they did in that 15-minute time frame, came down, and it's worked its way. So wow, that retraced hard. It came back up again, lost. Yeah, it's making lower lows right now. Well, it was making lower lows. We had a shift here. Okay, so what we should do first before we just continue to speculate is just add some support and resistance lines. We might need to zoom out a little bit. So I got 1, 2, 3. These ones stick out to me here, so we'll go with this here for now. 0.015, because it was tested. Well, how many times is it tested here? So a whole bunch there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then almost a 6th time here. Yeah, so that's pretty good. So it's kind of a loose support, but there's likelihood if it comes back down, it'll bounce off of that. Coincidentally, that support line should be right around the moving averages. Yeah, so it's just above, or below rather. All right, so a really important moving average really quick on the 4-hour chart just to note is this 100-day, because if we lose that and it comes below, then the secondary support we'll have to hit would be right here about 0.015. So pay attention to how that reacts. I'm guessing based on the fact that it's been tested a few times and essentially worked as a resistance and now it's a support level with a small variance, I'm speculating that's going to be the new support. So the current support should be 0.0165. That's my thought there. All right, and then on the 15 here, let's see if we can find any potential resistance. This is all over the place, though. Honestly, it's kind of hard to identify with such violent price increases and decreases. And this is a pretty decent one. We'll probably see that one because that was tested 3 times and again recently. Let's just go ahead and mark that guy here, 0.0189. This will be the new resistance. So kind of working itself into a channel here. So to me, if I were to consider taking entry, I'd be very cautious, but also optimistic in the sense that I believe this 100-day moving average should work as a support line. So 0.0165 I feel is a pretty strong support. If we get confirmation off of that line, which I wonder if I could, let me do this here. Let me mark it. See if it comes over the 15. All right, good. So this line here, 0.0165. Obviously it's working as a support, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I don't know, 7, 8 times with a slight variance. So right here is where the 100-day moving average is. So if we see the price come down, bounce off of here, and close for no less than just say 45 minutes, then that would be a consideration to take entry if we see it, just say 3 green bars or, really, really close to that level. That would be a case in point where I'd feel comfortable taking entry. And I'd set my goal to try to get closer to this resistance line. I think it's lofty to get that high, but I do feel like taking a 5 or 10% gain would be helpful. So if I were to approach this, I would wait for the price to come down and to test that support level of 0.0165. Wait for 2 to 3 solid green bars, wait to see that. And once I have that confirmation, then I would consider taking entry. I would take maybe just say a 30% entry point, So for example, if you have $1,000, I just like to use this as an easy baseline. If you have $1,000, I would put $300 in at that position, and I'd wait for the price to come up to where I want it to. And what my next goal would be to see where the price hits in the VWAP. Because if you can see here, the volume weighted average price, sorry, one sec, is this guy right here. It's this blue line. So if you've seen my videos before, you'll know what I mean by that. That the VWAP is a very important support and resistance level that's continuously adjusting based on the last 24-hour volume. So we see that here, the support and resistance level, the price is currently below. So I don't usually like taking entry under a support level, or in this case it's a resistance, because the VWAP is traveling above the price action. So long story short, to try to make it simple for you, I would wait for the price, come down here. I'd like to see at least 2 solid green bars. So for example, you see these 2 here, these are 2 solid green bars. I'd wait for 2, hopefully 3 green bars, and then wait for the price action to continue upwards. I would take my entry of just say $300 on a total amount of 1,000, 30%, and I'd wait for the volume weighted average price to be tested. If it tests and holds above and stays above for another 30 minutes, then I would add to my position and try to go a little higher. And I'd see if I can start edging out my position as I get closer to the resistance line, which is up here at 0.0189. Again, that's a really difficult place to get. Like, say, I mean, you look at that. That's almost that's almost 14%. It's not easy to get that kind of gain in a short-term swing trade. Obviously, depending on your overall goal, you can get there. But I think it'd be overly optimistic to consider getting that much gains in a short period. So again, wait for support to be tested. Take your entry. Don't do a full position, only a small position, 20 to 30%. Wait for the VWAP to be tested and broken. And if the price stays above, add to your position only after you get further confirmation. All the while making sure that your RSI is under 70. Okay, that would be my action plan. That's what I would do in this situation. You do you, because obviously we all have our own trading habits and our own trading formulas. But to me, those things work really well for me because it keeps me safe and it helps me ensure that I mitigate my losses. Okay, because again, the whole point of taking a small entry isn't to get small gains, it's to ensure you lose less. Okay, so just try to remember that, try to understand that, because it's difficult to get into a habit of that, because we just want to jump in and just jump out when we want to, because like, oh cool, I'm a good trader, you just jump in, jump out and feel really awesome. But more often than not, you'll get burned and you'll be frustrated and you'll be stuck in a position you don't want to be in. Have a goal, set a target, stick with it. So if you found this beneficial, please let me know. Comment below, of course, and obviously feel free to join our Telegram community. I have a Patreon account now as well. I'm going to formulate some type of training. I would like to try to get something to the effect of beginner, intermediate, and advanced trading techniques together. It will take me some time, of course, but that's what I'm working on so I can better assist my community. So thank you all again for joining me here today. We'll look forward to seeing the next video. Have a great rest of your day.